Peace and love, family. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Maat. You see the title. I know some of you are shocked. You said, not my sister, Dr. Maat. The title of the show or the broadcast tonight is Why I'm No Longer Pro Black, or why I'm not pro Black anymore. And so you might say, well, God, Lee, if we losing, are we losing our sisters? What's going on? And we'll get into that a little later. But I was having conversations with the sisterhood, and quite frankly, the sisterhood is tired. The sisters are tired of, these brothers running around purporting to be conscious. But then when you analyze their behavior is contrary to that which they claim to be, which is conscious. And so I know that you all know or heard about a lot of the drama going around in what I call the so-called conscious community. I think that word is a misnomer. I think to call that community conscious is a misnomer. And so I refer to it as the unconscious community or the so-called conscious community. But the sisters are being tired. The sisters are tired. My sister, Mia Miata, the goddess Mia Miata, she put up a post today, and I can show you all the post that she put up today. This post has over 131 comments. So let me share my screen with you. And so this is the post. She said, I'm convinced a lot of these conscious brothers are possessed. They use and then gaslight Black women. So you see, she has over 105 impressions and 131 comments. And so, the sister had to hit me up. And I said, all right, I'm jumping on the post. So she tagged me. I'm jumping on the post. The sisters are going in. And so I'm like, okay, I got to get in on this. But this is not a new conversation, family. We, a lot of the sisters have been talking about this for years, have been talking about the behavior that these so-called conscious brothers exhibit. And shout out to the brothers who don't exhibit that foolishness, all right? Because it's not all of you, right? I don't want you all to say, Dr. Maat is banging on the brothers tonight. No. I've met some wonderful men, wonderful Black men in the community. I have ones who fiercely stand up for Black women and children, and I thank you. But it's a lot of clowns in the community. It's a lot of clowns running around, and we're going to be talking about that clown behavior tonight. So without further ado, I would like for you, my sister, Mia Miata, to introduce yourself to the listening audience.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come on your platform, Dr. Maat. My name is Mia Miata, and I am a vocalist, teacher, professor, just sister, friend to the community. I've been around for a while, and like you said, I've just seen a lot of this behavior. Now, let me first start off by saying that I love Black women, first and foremost, okay? Black women are my passion. And of course, I'm about balance, right? So my name is Mia Miata, so we're talking about Maat. So in order for me to love Black women, I equally have to love Black men, right? But we have to check this behavior, okay? And like you said, this is nothing new. We've been talking about this in the community for years now. And one of my sister friends and I were having a conversation this morning, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there. And I said, you know what? I got time today.
I got time today. Come on.
And so, let's talk about it, because healthy conversation is important, correct? And dialogue and opening up the narrative is important. And so I see Brother Ryan, my apology. I see him on the line. And so listen, we want to have a healthy conversation. We want to be able to open up the dialogues and be able to talk as brothers and sisters. But what I'm really upset about is the fact that a lot of the brothers aren't checking other brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we say something, we're bitter, we're angry,
we're feminists, we're man haters.
You are haters. That's not what we're saying. We birth you. You come from us. You see what I'm saying? So we love you, but also we got to check this behavior. And and we don't want to be, oh, well, I'm just going to be single. Nobody wants to be single. Let's keep it 100. We don't really want to be single, but we will, in order to protect our vessels, in order to protect our hearts, in order to protect our children. Okay. So this is a topic that needs to be discussed. And I got time today, and I got time tonight.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Sister Anonymous. Sister Anonymous is in the building. She said, I gotta be anonymous. I said, all right, Queen, do your thing. But I'm so glad that she joined the platform. Sister Anonymous, go ahead and introduce yourself to the listening audience, Queen.
Hey, audience. I wanted to remain anonymous because I just didn't want to put a face to it yet. But I am one of the sisters that has experienced the whole dynamic of the so-called conscious community. I was introduced when I was younger through, I don't want to say necessarily the conscious community, but I was aware because my father raised me that way. And as I got older, I started, wanting to gain more knowledge. And it's just a lot of toxic behavior going on in that community, and I don't feel like nobody's addressing it. I remember back in the days they used to have like a council where everybody would come together and address any issues that may be happening, so they could nip it in the bud and address it. But now it seems like it's an attack on Black women anytime we voice how what we're going through, what's what's an issue, and instead of us being embraced, we're laughed at, we're chastised, we're abandoned. And it's just it has to be addressed because there's a lot of women that may be coming into the community that's new, and I just want them to be aware. It has to be some type of protection on both ends for the men and for the women. And
Ashe.
yeah, and I feel like it's because I've been through a lot in the community. I didn't speak on it because and I'm still like kind of dealing with it. There's abuse going on in that community. There's falsehoods. A lot of these men use their knowledge to gain access to these women. They push this whole polygamy dynamic, and I think they just use that because they want to mess with other women. But even with that, they still cheat. They push this whole the black woman is God, and then they go and mess with white women. And I feel like they call us angry and bitter because we're the ones to correct their behavior or address it. And I guess the white women are more, you know, accepted of whatever they do. They don't question them. They don't correct them. They don't try to make the situation better. But it's a lot going on. I was involved in a so-called polygamous relationship, and me and my daughter was involved, but we wound up being not involved in no family gatherings, not involved in any type of communication as far as like to gather the family and stuff like that. And I just felt abandoned, and then it got abusive. It became verbal. These men go online and attack women and belittle them and call Black women black bitches, angry, bitter, all this stuff that's going on. And I remained silent. I never, you know, addressed it. But I just got to a breaking point where I was like, I gotta say something so I could at least start the healing process. And I just wish more men would hold men accountable. And a lot of these teachers that's in the community came came from the jail system. That nobody's talking about that. A lot of these teachers go, they either was locked up and they gain knowledge through jail. They read all these books, then they come into the community, but they still carry that jail like behavior. As far
Mm.
as far
Or
as abuse, I dealt with men that were like exhibiting like down low type behavior. Um just some like extra sexual type behavior that was uncomfortable. And it just seems like it's like an extension of like the pimp mentality, but they're using the conscious word to cover what they're really doing. So I really, people need to address that. A lot of these men came out of the jail system and they're still dealing with trauma. I don't know if a lot of these men was traumatized when they was younger, but how they say hurt people.
Mhm.
But us
Mhm.
sisters, we come into the community looking for a safe haven and for protection and to gain knowledge and to feel protected by our men, and the men is not doing that.
Yeah, so I just want to and peace to brother Sean P. He's in the chat. He asks what community. He wants to know what community when you ladies say the community. Because I already told you at the beginning of the show, I call all of that conscious and community. I call that a misnomer, right? To
Mm-hmm.
call that a conscious community, it's not a conscious community
Yeah,
in my opinion. So when you ladies say the community, are you talking about the physical community where you live, or are you talking about this online YouTube?
I'm talking about because it's online and it's in the physical. They have lectures.
Yeah, but that's true.
They
That's
have
true.
like they do like workshops. They do like these hailing type events. They do a lot that's not necessarily online. I know a lot of people know the community. There's a lot of teachers that's out here that's in that
So
community.
called, so called.
Yeah, so called. They
Mm.
all gather and do lectures. They all gather with pushing the black woman is God rhetoric and
And I want to say this: when they were talking that black woman is God stuff, right?
hmm
A lot of the sisters, they were encouraging, and I don't want to speak the brother's name. I'm not going to name call, but it was a couple of brothers who were pushing it. One was real popular. He just got into some stuff, right? When he was pushing that black woman is God ideology, he had the backing of a lot of sisters. He did, and then there's another one. He's not locked up for anything, but he's online beating his baby mother. But he was pushing the black woman is God too. And so then you had a lot of sisters saying things like telling the brothers, well, you need to be like these two people. But
yeah
these two people are psychotic. I mean, you get what I'm saying? You need to be like these brothers. You need to be like these brothers. They're saying the black woman is God. You need to be. But then when we look at these two brothers were sociopaths. When you think about it. So what do you have to say about I'm just curious about the sister's role in in this in creating these master teachers, because a lot of these brothers that we're talking about
hmm
had strong backing by the sisters. The sisters went to the lectures, the sisters watched them on YouTube, the sisters propped them up. I mean, really propped them up. So what does that say about what's going on with the sisterhood? Does anyone want to answer that?
Well, I will address that because it's still going on. Like when these men get angry and attack women online or in person, there's a lot of females that I notice that be in the comments that be laughing, that boost the men's ego up, that makes it seem okay. And it's not just the brothers. There's a lot of women that's enabling this behavior and making these men feel powerful. Because the person I was dealing with, they was like, well, I got other queens. You're not a queen. I got other wives. You're not a wife, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, a lot of these, like I see them in the comments, they laughing. A lot of them knew me personally. They will just say my name and address me in these comments. They will put out negative energy to go against any relationship we had, and it's like this it's bad. The sisterhood is not protecting each other, and then enabling these men behavior. They laugh, they cheer it on, they
As
repost.
long yeah, as long as it's not them, because
Yeah, as
I
long as it's
noticed
not
as
them.
long as it's not them, because I noticed when I got attacked,
hmm
it was more brothers who stepped up and said, leave Dr. Ma'at alone. Like you said, the sisters just kind of continue to support these brothers.
Yeah, because
You
they
know what
want
I
to
mean?
they want to be in your place, and then once they're there, they see then they experience the same abuse and neglect you've been through. They think it's peaches and cream, and they chastise and belittle the victim while they big up the abuser, and they not realizing, or maybe they are realizing that they're doing that. But it's really sad. If that's one of the main things that hurt me the most, was seeing my sisters joining in on these conversations, amping these men up to continue with that behavior. So the men go against you, and then they like, well, I got all these other women that supporting me, blah blah blah. But it's like, okay, it comes to a point where it's like the sisters gotta, tell these men like, no, you don't need to talk to a black woman like that. You don't need to treat a black woman like that. We need, some type of protection. But like you said, it was more women in the comments and in person that enables these men's behavior. I seen a couple men that were saying, "Oh, you know, chill, chill, chill." But all these teachers want yes people. They want people to yes everything they do. They can never take accountability, they can never be corrected. So all they keep around them is yes people. If you're against them, they're gonna either block you or
Yes.
talk
Yes.
talk down on you. So if you say anything that like, yo, you know, chill, chill, you know, calm down, you know, let's talk it out, let's you know, have some peace or whatever, they'll block that, and then everybody else laughing on with them calling you out your name and all that. They'll keep them in their circle. But the people that's trying to, come to come to a come to a solution, those are the ones that they don't listen. They want yes people. They want people to yes their behavior. They don't see nothing wrong with their behavior. They gaslight the woman that they attack, and it's just an ongoing cycle. It's like the curse is like repeating itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we move to the article, Mia Miata, do you wanna chime in, Queen, or do you want me to jump right into this article?
No, what I do want to say though is that a lot of times, and I agree with 100% about what the anonymous goddess has said. But what I do want to say is that that we got to stop victim blaming, because we are the creators, right? So we do want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? We do need to hear that. Not that we want to, not that it's feeding our ego, but it's the truth. You see what I'm saying? And so when a brother comes with which you think, you see what I'm saying? And you know, and a lot of in the comments of that post that you were talking about, a couple of brothers was like, "Oh, well, y'all falling for the shit." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay, maybe, okay, but why are we being blamed for having an open heart chakra? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. I get it. But and on that particular post, there was very vocal black women who were saying, you know, like this shit needs to stop. And brothers need to check that shit at the door. And why are we being blamed? So in response to your question about the women, I think it could go both ways. You know what I'm saying? I think there are a lot of women that are supporting this kind of behavior, but it's also a lot of women that said, listen, this shit needs to stop, and the brothers need to take more accountability for other brothers. But then brothers are saying, why do I gotta check another nigga? That ain't my responsibility. When I think in my opinion, I don't know what the comments are saying on your thread, and I see some brothers chiming in. Like, what do they feel about it? And that's a question we can talk about later after we address the article. But I really want to know how other brothers feel about this kind of behavior.
Yes, and I just wanted to say I was reading the comments and they say nobody could force polygamy on you, and that is correct. A lot of these brothers approach sisters like they have a safe environment for these women to come into along with their children, and then when you get into that environment, it's totally different. A lot of men lie and big up this safer environment. Oh yeah, you got family. We all gonna work together, and then when you get into that environment, it's totally opposite. And then a woman is kind of trapped in that environment, and they have to get out. So I agree that nobody could force it on you. But if somebody introduced something like, "Oh, yeah, you have sisters out here, and you could do the work, and you could go to school, and you have a support system, and you have a child," and you're like, "Oh, that sounds like a good situation. You know, that sounds like something that will, help me, and I can help others." And you go into that environment, and it's the totally opposite thing, then the woman is there stuck and has to kind of get out the situation. So it's not only affecting women, it's affecting the children.
Man, and I'm looking at Brother Sundiata's comment. Like you said, cult leaders and charlatans. Thank you, Brother Sundiata. These aren't teachers. These aren't conscious brothers. These are cult leaders and charlatans. Thank you so much for that, Brother Sundiata. Thank you so much. Oh, and I am King Sosa said, not sociopaths, but psychopaths. I agree with that too. So I love that the brothers are here and chiming in. And so let's jump into the article. There was a sister. There was a sister who wrote an article entitled "Why I'm Not Pro-Black Anymore." Mm. She said, once upon a yesteryear, and let me get this out of here. Once upon a yesteryear, I was a very pro-black community type of girl. Everything I did, from the purchases I made to the media I watched, was dedicated to improving the general state of the black community. You sisters, you know how that is. When we first get in the community, we're going to the stores, we're buying our jewelry, our clothes, growing out our natural hair. So I feel her. She said, I used to hashtag buy black and shout out hashtag Black Lives Matter all day. I never did that. I never did that. And I hear some feedback, so I'm a mute. I think that was you, Sister Anonymous. That says, but recently I looked around. I looked around me at the general state of the black community and realized that I couldn't be ignorant anymore. I couldn't keep sacrificing myself and my well-being, fighting for a community where colorism and featureism and texturism are rampant. Sisters, do you want to chime in on that? Because that is true. You got a lot of these brothers running around claiming to be conscious and African centered and pro-black, and they are colorists. They do suffer from colorism, featureism, and texturism. What are your experiences with that, Sister Miata?
Well, they want you to look like you just got off of a surgeon's table. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? They want you to look a certain type of a way, or they approach you. It's like, oh, peace queen, oh, I love black women. But then the features that you have that make you black, like I have, if my skin stretches, the melanin is gonna kick in. You see what I'm saying? I have stretch marks. I have hyperpigmentation. I have these things that make me uniquely as a black. These are the things that black women, I'm not gonna say suffer from, because I don't suffer from shit. You feel me? These are the things that make me a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like you're shamed. You gain some weight. Okay. Oh, fuck it. I gained some weight. Okay. I'm not the same person I am on the inside. You know what I'm saying? I did it. Yeah, all of it, everything. I'm here for everything that sister said. Everything she said is true. Exactly. They want you to look like a Instagram model.
They want you to look like a white woman. That's what they want.
And you know what, you look sister? Like. You and I had a personal conversation about something I had went through personally.
Yes, we did.
You said, Mia, these brothers don't like black women. They don't even like you. Period.
They don't even like you. They want you to look like a white girl. They want you to have the tracks, and you sitting there looking like, bro. And this is not, what type of brothers we talking about.
Yeah, right.
But they do. They want you to look. They want you to be black, but they want you to have European features. And those are the brothers. I tell sisters, stay away from them. Those are the European-minded brothers. Stay away from them. They're chasing the American standard of beauty, and those are the brothers you want to stay clear of. So anyway, let me continue reading.
And let me just say this.
Okay, go ahead.
They like black pussy, but they don't like black women. They like the vessel. They like the orifice. They love black pussy, but they don't like black women. Period. Because you are the original of everything. So they want to tap into your energy and drain you, but they don't like you, sis. Period. And that behavior is gonna become very evident when they start revealing themselves.
Absolutely. Hold on, I'm up here getting these comments in. All right. And so where did I stop off? A community that would quicker slide domestic violence rates in the black community under the rug rather than speak out for the protection of black women and girls. You know what I find funny, Queen? And I had to stop right there. There's a bunch of dudes. I don't even want to call these guys brothers at this point, because when I think of a brother, I think about someone who supports me, someone who has my back, someone who loves me. This is my brother. Those are just dudes to me. I noticed that there are a lot of dudes online after the person got locked. I'm talking about the dude got locked up, for allegedly assaulting a 14-year-old girl. I don't know if she's 14 or 16. I can't remember. But you got dudes making video at the video with this dude's name in their title. And I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness gracious. So instead of going to see this man, so if it was really about protecting And I'm not advocating any violence, toward this gentleman. But what I am saying is these dudes will sit online and do a 5 hour, 4 hour live stream about this dude that was allegedly assaulted a 14-year-old girl, but no one will go see him. The guy's out on bond, walking around making Instagram videos right now. These dudes are online on YouTube making videos, having conversations. So, how serious are you about protecting Black women and girls? Won't you go see these dudes? These dudes will sit online and talk about the young dude I'm talking about who just beat up, I think, one of his baby mothers or something. She went live and went public and said he beat me up. So you'll have dudes who will make videos saying, see, I told you he was a charlatan. I told you he was this. But no one will go and pull this dude up. No one will go and pull him up and say, look, man, what you doing? Who is checking these people that are running around violating Black women and girls and even Black boys? Who's checking them? People will make a video. These dudes will make a video, but they won't pull up. They won't pull up, and it's very disheartening. Did you want to chime in, Sister Mia Miata?
I think you said it in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? And if you read the article, you read the charges. They were very disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Very disgusting charges against this particular individual. And that shit is just clickbait. I mean, you know what I'm saying? These people who are making videos and want notoriety off of somebody else's downfall. You know what I'm saying? That speaks volume in and of itself. You know what I'm saying?
Clowns.
And so, like you said, why not go see this nigga?
Right, go see him. If you're really concerned about protecting young girls and Black women, go pull up. Go pull up.
They're not going to,
because they're clowns.
Right.
They're clowns. And as Black women, we have to know the difference between a Black man and a clown. Shout out to Baba Emotep, Fatty You, who wrote this book, African Manhood in the 21st Century. So he wrote this, right, for Black men, for African men, but he said he encouraged the sisters to read it too. I actually grabbed about 10 or 20 copies of this book, and I gave it away. Because the sisters have to recognize, an African man or a Black man from a clown. And there's a lot of clowns running around. Does anyone want to chime in, or do you want me to continue? Okay. All right. She said, I can no longer in good conscience fight for a community where the men are more concerned with entering entertainment, clowning Black women on Instagram, and gaining proximity to whiteness or symbols of status than build a self-sustainable community. She said, look at Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. So she's saying that these dudes, instead of, putting their energy into building institutions for their women and children, instead of these dudes creating safe spaces for women and children, they'll make a YouTube video, they'll make an IG post. But who's really serious about building, creating programs, creating physical institutions, right, that we can send our babies to, schools, being builders and producers? She's saying they rather clown Black women on Instagram, and they're concerned with entertainment and gaining proximity to whiteness or symbols of status. Does anyone want to chime in?
I do.
Yes.
Okay. So, right. I'm sorry. Anonymous, real quick. I just want to say this before I lose my train of thought. If you listen to that Donda album, right? Donda. He's chanting his mother's name, a Black woman, the Black vessel that brought him into this fucking world, right? And then who we laying up with? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And so that's that dichotomy I was just talking about, right? Where you use Black women, but you don't like Black women.
That's a fact, because dealing with these guys, they will use when Black women gain access, usually for your money and all that. As soon as they get in a higher standard around these white people and get a little bit of money, guess what? They'll turn their back on a very Black woman that was there when they had nothing. I think they fall in love with the European standard, the money, the clothes, and they just become, and then they start getting with women that's white or half white or that look white and have different type hair textures. After telling the black woman, oh, I love your natural hair. Keep your hair natural. Don't shave. And then they'll turn around and shame you for that same thing once they get around these other women. They get money and they get access to these other women. Because before that, they didn't have access to these women. A lot of white women wouldn't mess with none of these guys if they didn't have no money. So I think that's what it is. They get money and then they get access to the other women. They get in tune with their lower self, and they turn around and turn their back on a very woman that was there from the beginning when they had nothing. So
Oh, well,
it's
since you seen that, and I'm even talking about those two guys, the one that just got locked up, and the one that's beating on his baby mother. Soon as they got a couple of dollars, one
mm-hmm,
went and hired he's talking about the black woman is God, white people the devil, but he hired a white nanny, okay, for his children.
yeah,
Then you see the other one who's out in L.A. or Hollywood or whatever, riding around with white women in the car and throwing money on white women. So that's what a lot of them do. They'll use this pro black. I'm gonna do a show called the Pro Black Hustle. So
mm-hmm,
what a lot of them do is that they will present themselves as pro black people or African centered people or all of this crap. And then soon as they get some fame and they get a couple of dollars, you start seeing the real person. They want to move into the white neighborhoods. They start dating white women. I mean, you see it all the time. It's the pro black hustle. Pro blackness really has become a hustle.
it
I mean,
is.
when you think it's a hustle to a lot to these people. Now, I'm not talking about, and shout out to the people who are on the front line who are doing the damn thing. I mean, I know some African centered brothers and sisters to the core. Some people are pro black to the core, but there are an element of folks who use it as a hustle. Some people are raising millions of dollars. I'm not going to call names, but they've raising millions of dollars and haven't produced anything. But they were able to garner the money using the pro black hustle. Does anyone else want to chime in?
Yes, they start to put the money first. It used to be family first, and then the money took in place of the family. So instead of continuing and building with the family, they turn it back on the family and start building with the very thing that they said was the so-called devil or evil, or that they was against. It's just a big it's a continuous cycle. It's like, how long are we gonna stay in this cycle of being hoodwinked just to get money? Or you, if you notice, a lot of these teachers rhetorics and how they sound start changing. They start wearing designer, they start doing weird behavior. I seen some of them putting women on leashes, like they start bigging up all this designer stuff. You see them around white women, it's like, you they or everything they used to say start changing. So if you see anybody that exhibits that behavior, just know that they most likely flipped on their own people, while they still got them same people in their circle that's cheering them on. They turn their back on the black people. All they care about is money at this point. They don't care about nothing in the community. They don't care about shared economics. They don't care about developing stuff for the kids so they can have, a safe haven, protecting a woman. They don't care nothing about that. And they use the ancestors, and they use all this talk and act like they're so powerful and protected while they doing all of this. That's what really pisses me off, because they act like this behavior is protected by the ancestors, and that they're blessed.
Absolutely. And peace out to Grace for Cuts. He said, what is y'all vetting process? And anyone who's been following me knows that I always talk about how women in particular have to vet. And I also showed this book right here. I always encourage women to get this book. So when you talk about when you're looking for men, right, this can be a standard by which you can judge the men that you are vetting. So you can use this book along with other books. Manhood in Black and White by Dr. Amos Wilson. Visions for Black Men by Dr. Naeem Akbar. So I already mentioned that, grades for cuts. I see brother Sean P. He said, I got blocked by 400 people on Facebook that followed the same dudes. Oh yeah, brother Sean P. Not only did I get blocked, I got death threats
Are
behind
you
these dudes.
serious?
Yeah, I got death threats. I still have them. I'm gonna show you the screenshots.
Yeah, I
I
got
have.
death threats.
Yeah, I got
got
death
told,
threats.
I got
Yeah,
attacked online saying I wish you died. My family was talked about. My daughter was talked about. Like,
oh yeah,
what kind of these sick people saying and see these teachers doing it, and they just be like, I don't know. I think people like drama. They
absolutely.
attracted to drama.
Absolutely. So she look at this. So she says right here, Kanye West, and I don't know why she mentioned Kanye West because he's not somebody who's conscious or African centered in my opinion. But she says Kanye West, I believe, is near billionaire status, and instead of creating black schools and building in the black community, he prefers to make disparaging comments comparing black women to white women. It's obvious that he and many other black men. Another thing I don't particularly like about this article as I'm reading it is, she's putting black men in a box. And I think we need to differentiate, right, between, black men and black males, because
Yes,
it's
yes, yes,
it's a
yes,
difference, right? She
yes.
keeps saying black men, but the behavior that she's describing, in my opinion, is that of black males, not black men. But I'll continue. She said it's obvious that he and many other black men place white women on a pedestal and view them as status symbols to help them achieve some sort of proximity to whiteness and white people. I do believe that black males do that. She said Jay-Z too. Every black man in the media or public black male figure too. She said, I've come to wonder whether black men are worthy of the support that black women give them so loyally. She said, I say no. She said Black Lives Matter is a great example of a movement that was started by three black women. I can tear this paragraph up, because Black Lives Movement, in my opinion, Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, is not a great example of a movement. But okay, that's what she said. But I'm just reading the article. She said started by three black women, yet the movement by and large ignores black women on a daily basis. Just because people are speaking up about Breonna Taylor doesn't mean that people generally give a shit about the lives of black women and girls, because if they did, they'd be discussing the truth about who's really killing black women. Contrary to popular belief, it's not white men, it's black men. I live in Baltimore. Sister Mia Miata, you live in Baltimore. A lot of the sisters who are being gunned down in Baltimore are not being gunned down by white men, right? They're being gunned down by black males in the street. So they might be shooting at each other, and then a stray bullet might hit a black woman or a child, or sometimes they just shooting the black woman, just pulling up. And so we see that in Baltimore. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback off of your comment about the difference between black males and black men. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dondre Whitfield. Of course, he played Robert on the Cosby Show, but of late he's become very prolific in his distinction about manhood and the difference between males and men. I just wanted to read a comment. He says, in males versus men, Dondre Whitfield equips us to become men rather than simply grown males. Men are healthy and productive, servant leaders who bring positive change to their community. Males are self-serving and stuck in negative cycles that we hear and read about daily. And they create chaos instead of cultivating calm. Now, this is what a black man has said. This is not Mia Miata's words. This is what another black man has said. You see what I'm saying? So there's a difference between being a male and a man. You know what I'm saying? What we're talking about tonight, we're not talking about men. And I want that to be very clear, because there is a difference, right?
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Okay. And so all of the men here on this post or on this live tonight, we are not referring to you and how we're vetting and all these, and those are excellent questions, right? But there needs to be, in my opinion, a rite of passage for both the women, the sisters, and the brothers, right? So that we can know the difference, because there's a difference. And I don't like being called a female, because I'm not a female. I'm a woman. But there is a difference between a woman and a female. You feel me? So when when those terms are used, I think we need to be very clear about the meaning. Like somebody just asked me on the post, I haven't responded to him yet, because he knows what I mean. What do you mean by conscious? You know what I mean. I'm talking about unconscious. I'm using the word conscious, right, to spark conversation. You see what I'm saying? And so, absolutely, everything that you just said, there's this distinct difference between being a man and a male. And what we're talking about is the unchecked behavior of black males in this so-called community, right? And I've kind of like excommunicated myself from that community. I mind my business. Somebody said, Mia, we want you to sing. I come and sing, you know what I'm saying? And I leave. I'm just being for real. I don't stick around for a lot of the BS. You know what I'm saying? I don't, because it's just like, I'm just beyond it. I'm not above it. I'm just beyond it. You know what I'm saying? I want like, like the sister and I were talking about earlier, Sister Anonymous, we were talking about, we want to cultivate land and be productive and have something to leave to our children. I don't want to leave my daughter no bullshit, no trauma, none of that shit. I want to leave her some wealth, some generational wealth. But we need to build together as a real community. You know what I'm saying? And leave all this bullshit behind, but we get
That's
caught up.
true.
You see what I'm
Because when
saying?
I bring up the conversation about land and building schools and all that, they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to join forces with us Black women that can help them along the path. They'd rather just go to the European standard and get their money there and build with them. But if you bring the conversation to them as far as shared economics and acquiring land and you doing the work yourself, and then you go to the man and say, let's come together and do the work together, and they're not willing to do the work with you, it's like you have no option but to get away from that community and just do it on your own until you find that safe community, that safe environment where you could come as a collective. Because I thought that was the whole point of that community, was for us to come together and come with some solutions. But that's not the case. It seemed like people are just gathering, the teachers is giving lectures, and everybody go home. There's no nothing developed. There's nothing that's gained from it except the knowledge, but nobody's putting that knowledge into actual fruition and getting things done. And then when you come to them with these conversations, because you're going, I went to school, I got my degree, I fixed my credit, I did all of these things, I saved money, and then you go to these same men, and I don't think they have that mindset as far as like putting money together, and we could gain something, we could access something, we could build something. I think it's just money. They just want quick money. They buy the fashion, they buy the food, they get around women, and that's what they're in it for. They're not in it for longevity.
No, I can dig it. No, I can dig it. And I do agree. Brother Sean P said we advocate scientific literacy. Yeah, I've been doing that for over a
Yeah.
decade, right? And critical thinking, which helps you not fall for the pseudo. So people are going back and forth in the comments, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I welcome all comments. But brother, Grades Uncut, you said we're talking about a small percentage of men, out Black men. I wouldn't say that we're talking about men, period. And I think that Sister Mia Miata and myself, that we made that crystal
Yeah.
clear about
It's
10
not
minutes ago.
men,
Or maybe, yeah,
male.
we made that crystal clear.
They exhibit a lot of child like behavior, so I would consider them males. The men are actually getting things done, and it, like, there's a lot of good men that's in the community that is doing the work. And I don't want to make any sisters feel less of because they might have picked the wrong guy, or got persuaded by the wrong man, and now they're in a certain situation. I don't want to make the woman feel bad either for for coming into the community thinking that it was a safe haven. But there, like I said, there are a lot of men in the community that is doing the work, that I see continuously doing the work. They got their Black woman with them, they're building. It's just it's a lot. I don't want to say it's a little bit, but it's a lot of them that's in that community that is in there, with other alternatives, I want to say.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And so she gets into some stats. She said, that's right. The rates of abuse, murder, homicide against Black women are more often at the hands of Black men than any other race of men. 9/10 of Black women know their killer before they are murdered. And Black women are 3 times more likely to be victims of homicide than their white or male counterparts. Things are dire in the Black community. If Black lives matter, let's talk about the ways that Black women's lives are being affected by, she says, system inequality, not just at the hands of white people, but at the hands of Black men who quickly have become the oppressors of Black women. Wow. So then she goes into this. She says, Black people just want proximity to whiteness. I agree with that. What are your thoughts on that? I don't even have to read what she's saying, but I do agree that a lot of Black folks, they do want to be in close. She just said want proximity to whiteness. I would say they want to be in close proximity to whiteness, What are your thoughts?
I agree. They do want to be closer, like in one proximity to whiteness. They'll do anything in their ability to get closer to them because they feel like they're the ones that have access to more wealth. I've seen it personally. A lot of them move to LA, Hollywood. A lot of them gain new friends. It's you can see their circle become smaller as far as black people around them, and there's more white people around them. And I don't know what type of influence these people have on them, but they start going to dinners with them. They start going to their houses. They start going in the hills and all these houses. So there's a lot that's be going on. I've seen a lot of teachers move from where they was at to be closer to these to white people.
What are your thoughts, Mia Miata?
I don't know. I would I don't know. I don't know.
You know,
I
okay,
don't want to
yeah,
be
I
close.
do.
I don't
Yeah,
want to be close to them, but I mean, you know what I mean. I guess if we're looking at a culture as a culture, right? You know, and this is, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I guess I have to agree. You know what I'm saying? It's sad though.
Yeah, because
no, it's
even the teachers will agree and say that they are, and the excuse that they will give is, well, they're not. They'll call you racist and say, I'm not racist. I'll take anybody's money.
Oh wow.
mm-hmm. And the sisters in the building, Sister Sci-Fi in the building, Sister Tiffany French. She said they ain't concerned. Call it what it is. Clowns. That's what I said, Queens. Clowns. These aren't black men. These are clowns that we're talking about. But she says right here, you may disagree with me, but I believe that the typical builders and providers of a race are its men. This is really controversial, but when you look at the history in which we live, patriarchy has made it so that men have an easier time advancing in their societies. Thus, the people who garner the most wealth, build the most schools, start the banks, run the businesses, run the military, dictate the government, they tend to be men. We can argue whether this is how it should be, but this is the way it is. So, knowing this point, she said, I've come to notice that black men, the builders, protectors, and providers of the black community, are by far more interested in gaining privileges within white supremacy rather than tearing down the system or building their own self-sustaining community and system. Again, I really have an issue with her using black men because when you read African Manhood in the 21st Century, Baba Emotep Fatty U makes it clear that African manhood, well, one aspect of African manhood is being a builder. Another aspect is being a protector, being a provider. So you can't walk around and call yourself a man if you aren't doing these things. And so go ahead, Mama Miata.
No, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Just I'm sorry. It'll come back to me. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I was just
Mm.
saying that, yeah. So she says they're more interested in multiculturalism and diversity and receiving little benefits under white supremacy. So what she's talking about really are what we would call black collaborators or the coons, Uncle Toms. That seems like what she's describing right there, in my opinion. But go ahead, Mama Miata. Did it come
No,
back to you?
I remember. Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. One of the sisters on the post on my Facebook, she made a comment. She says they aren't possessed; they're participating in patriarchy and blackface. And I mean, I've heard that before, but when she said it on that particular thread, it just like, oh wow, like that's facts, sis. That's exactly what this is. This is patriarchy and blackface. Black males take advantage of patriarchy just as much as white males do, right? And our community at the expense of black women.
Mm. Mm. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. She said there are just not enough black people and black men specifically building for the black community, creating black schools, creating black media structures, black companies, black banks, places to pool black wealth. There just isn't enough. Black men and black people in general don't understand that simply gaining benefits under a racist structure will never give you power. Oh, it never give you power, but instead leaves you vulnerable to the mercies at the hands of your oppressors. I can't respect the entire black community seems oh, I can't respect that the entire black community seems hell-bent on gaining rights, privileges, and access to whiteness as opposed to tear down the system that gives whiteness so much privilege. She said, I'm disgusted.
Yeah, and I don't understand it because these oppressors, they wrote all of this in books exactly what they're doing now, how they cause the division, the separation of the family. And these men read these books and they still acting the way they are. They don't there's no transfer of wealth to black women. Most of the wealth is getting transferred to these white women or no women, period. And it's like, you read all these books and you're still participating in that same dominance hierarchy. It doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mama Miata, did you want to chime in?
No, no. Sister Anonymous is dropping so many jewels tonight, and she's giving us so much insight. Because me personally, I've never dealt with it, a teacher necessarily, right? It's always been like, the little clown that follows the teacher. You see what I'm saying? So so she's giving me so much insight. And what did she say? What kind of hierarchy, sis, did you just say?
It's a
Dominance. Yeah, the dominance.
Dominance
they
hierarchy.
use these same terms when they teach and say that stay out of dominance hierarchies, and but they're participating in a dominance hierarchy with the white man, and it's still below the white man, and everything that the white man put in system to separate the black family, they're participating in, and the white male is higher in this dominance hierarchy, while they're basically doing everything that these white men wrote this in books, everything that's going on, how to still keep people as slaves years later without actually being in slavery, through the mind, through the separation of the family, through division, and they participating in it, and it's just to have access, like I said, to wealth, to have closer proximity to white people. They participating in this dominance hierarchy, and it's I've seen it through my I watched it happen, because it wasn't when I first came into the community, like everybody, like a lot of teachers start from the bottom. So when they're at the bottom, they're participating with the people. Once they start teaching, and then more white people come into the fold, and they start inviting them. Oh yeah, come out to Hollywood, come to the houses, come to this party, and oh, do this and you could get that. They start eating with these people, and then they turn their back on the people that was there when these people wasn't around. But a lot of these teachers are being infiltrated by the very people that they're participating in the dominance hierarchy with. They're being infiltrated, and they don't see it happening. I've been to lectures where I've seen they'll say, "Oh, there's so-called agents in the community that come to these lectures." These same people they call agents, they go and have these dinners with them. They have meetings. That's what they call it. Oh, I'm going to have a meeting about some finances or whatever. And they come out these meetings, and their whole perspective starts changing. They, like they said, they become more multicultural because they're accepting more people into their fold. So they become more multicultural. You see different people around them that have access to the knowledge that they're given. And then they use the whole the Moorish law and all of this. And they big up, oh yeah, we had empires, and we had the science and the magic and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but that empire fell because y'all gave away y'all secrets. And I'm like, y'all doing the same thing right now. Y'all giving away y'all secrets. And what you think is gonna happen? It was they keep saying, "Oh, this is the Renaissance again. We in the Renaissance. We in the Renaissance." Well, what happened in the Renaissance was they got access to these white women. They started making them concubines. They started giving up their secrets to these white men, and the white men turned on them. The white women started identifying with their white fathers, and they flipped on them and ran with their secrets and all of that, and they still doing it. And I'm like, y'all participating in this hierarchy, and it's confusing. I see a lot of men that don't participate in it, that's building businesses with their women and protecting their woman. But then there's some men that you have all this knowledge and you just give it away. But
That's
that's what
my
they
whole that's my whole thing. That's why, people run around saying knowledge is power, knowledge is power. And I'm like, no, the application of knowledge is power. So
mm-hmm.
I've met a lot of people, and I tell my students all the time, there's a difference between, knowledgeable people and intelligent people, right? So I've met a lot of people who are knowledgeable. They have the knowledge, they have the knowledge. But what good is your knowledge if you don't apply it? And if you don't apply the knowledge, you're not intelligent. So I come across a lot of knowledgeable people, I'm telling you, but I'm sorry, a lot of knowledgeable people, but not intelligent people. Intelligent people take the knowledge that they get and they apply it. And I see Brother Michael Jordan says, in order to build institutions, we need resources and wealth owned and controlled by people with integrity and consciousness. As a group, Black people don't have that. We can build, brother. Shout out to Brother Marcus Klein
The
in
key word is
Chicago.
integrity.
Yeah. The key word is integrity. But shout out to Brother Marcus Klein, who has the Freedom Home Academy in Chicago. Mama and Yaba Rudy down there with Akabin House. Shout out to the Uhuru Academy with Baba Amin and his wife. So you have people building, and we can build. Anytime the charlatans come through and raise millions of dollars, I'm not going to name any names, but there were some brothers who came through and they galvanized the people and raised millions of dollars. If we can do that, surely we can galvanize and build our own institutions. I have no doubt about that. Sister Mama Beata, did you want to chime in?
Well, I mean, this dominance hierarchy for me is just this is important as the critical race theory. I'm being, like we need to have lectures on the exact things that we're talking about tonight. You know what I'm saying? Instead of regurgitating all of this information, like Sister Anonymous said, in the the white man has put in books. You know what I'm saying? All we're doing is regurgitating the same information. We need to start a new paradigm. If God bless Sister Paula Muhammad and Brother Ramsey. That's what they were focusing on, this paradigm shift, right? Shout out to Brother Ramsey who lost his beautiful queen. But I say all that to say is that everything that that Sister Anonymous is saying to me is just eye opening. You know what I'm saying? And I created the post because real talk, we were having a conversation on text, and I just thought the dialogue needed to be open and the narratives needs to be changed. You know what I'm saying? We're not angry, we're not bitter. Yeah, we may be hurt, but because who did these charlatans get the knowledge from? They got it from us. This right. is our knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The Black woman is the creatress of almost everything on this planet. Sister Ma, you're an educator. Did you know that Henrietta Lacks's cells are not affected by the coronavirus?
I saw that she couldn't. I don't know about affected. I think like you said, unaffected, because they did try to use it. I think to come up with the vaccine. I forgot how they.
I'm gonna send you the article.
Yeah, send me the article because I don't want to misquote anything. But I know that they did attempt to
have
they did attempt to. Sis, are you talking?
No, they also said that some Black people have super immunity to it. I just seen a new article. They're calling it super immune people that can't catch it at all.
Yeah, you all gotta send me those articles. I haven't read that, but I did see an article on Henrietta Lacks and how they were trying to use her cells, with the vaccine, but I'm not sure how they were trying to use.
And another thing with the whole dominance hierarchy, a lot of them are participating by whitewashing everything. A lot of the art and all of that is being whitewashed. Through music, through film, through everything is being whitewashed. Like they have to use white people to sell it, so they succumb to that in order to gain wealth. I've done projects where these teachers all told me, "Oh no, you should whitewash. You should whitewash the art. You should put this on the art. More people will buy. More people will be attracted to this image and then they try to make it scientifical because people eyes is more attracted to red tones and all of this." I'm like, y'all the same pro-Black people that's like, oh, the Black woman is God. They don't want to use the Black woman image. They don't want to honor the Black woman. And then now I feel like it's like a role reverse. They say, oh, Black women are masculine and angry. And I'm like, a lot of Black women have to play the role of both the man and the woman. A lot of them. So maybe a lot of women might come off masculine or seem angry or bitter, but it's really just an emotional thing where they're calling out for they're basically saying we need Black women are basically telling the Black men we need y'all. They're crying out for Black men, and the Black men is turning their back on them and saying, well, y'all masculine. They deal with white women because they say they don't argue or they don't have attitudes, or they could put white women through whatever and they just deal with it. So that's why they deal with them. But us black women, we tend to say, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't talk to her like that. I done seen teachers talk to another black woman in a disrespectful manner, and I would check him and I say, no, you don't need to talk to that sister like that. And they don't like when you do that. They don't like when you protect another sister, especially if you with them.
Oh yes,
They
when I
want you to
got
have their
yeah,
back before you have the woman's back. You can't correct.
yeah,
Like,
you
no,
can't
don't
do.
talk to her like
Yep.
that.
Yes, when that happened with the young dummy, when he was attacking me, there were some sisters. There wasn't, the sisters were attacking me too under his command and death threats and all of that. But there was a small element of sisters who did defend me, and like you said, when they defended me, they were called lesbians. Why are you defending her? You must be a lesbian. You must be, and I'm like, wow, it can't just be a sister sticking up for another sister. It gotta
No,
be that. Like, are you
oh,
serious?
stop talking to them women like that. And they get mad at me like I'm supposed to be on their side. Like, no, like I'm not gonna sit here while you disrespect women. I'm not gonna. I wasn't raised like that. I love my sisters. Like, if anything, I'm gonna correct you and be like, don't talk to women like that. It's unnecessary. But these men, I'm telling you, and like I said, a lot of them came out the jail system. Nobody's addressing that. They never went to no type of counseling or nothing like that. They came straight from the jail system with these doing these lectures and writing these books and all of that. But they brought the behavior from the even in hip hop. You see it. It's like hip hop is basically the jail. It's just basically people that came out of jail that had access to hip hop. They gave them access to these platforms to push this message. And the message that's in hip hop is disrespecting the black woman. The messages that's in film is you see the black man with a white woman. They don't push the image that attracts, oh, black woman, black man, respect the black man, respect the black woman, black family unity. They don't push that, and they participating in it. A lot of these men that go to these platforms to get money, they're participating in this dominance hierarchy. The white man is telling them what to sell.
Mm. So let's check this out. I want to move. She had a couple of other paragraphs, and thank you so much for that. She had a couple of other paragraphs left in that section, but I want to move to the sections. The second section, pro blackness means pro black men. She says on the internet, I came across something called the black male privilege checklist that encompasses a lot of the privileges that black men wield and withhold from black women. It hones in on the ways that they oppress black women. She says Jewel Woods writes in the Black Male Privilege Checklist, and I would like to know who this author is that she's quoting, because it's like a lot of this stuff that she's saying is like, I can agree with some, and then some I just can't. But she says male privilege is more than just a double standard because it is based on attitudes and actions that come at the expense of women, just as white privilege comes at the expense of African Americans or other people of color. Gender double standards come at the expense of women. She says the first thing that you do when you sign initiation into the cult that is pro-blackness. So she's calling pro-blackness a cult. She says is decide to put your race before your gender. Well, I mean, that's what I was taught, even by, I'm sitting here thinking of Africana womanism by Dr. Weens Hudson. She talks about how it should be race, class, and sex. She was saying how white women are more race, they're more race and female centered. But she said, as black women, she argues that we should be race, that we should prioritize race, then class, then sex, right? And so this girl is saying, yes, yeah, when you become pro-black, you put your race before your gender. But she says, as black women, we're taught that we're black first, women second. However, I recently discovered that this is the way of denying the unique nuances of black womanhood and getting black women to become black male identified. This almost blinds us to the real fact that black female issues and struggles get pushed to the back in the black community. I'm trying to think how she's going to put this together. She says when a black man is killed by police, it spurs international uproar. When a black woman is killed by police who broke into her home, it spurs social media hashtags. People don't care nearly as much about black women as they care about Black men, and it shows. Black men don't care enough about Black women. Black Lives Matters, as I mentioned before, is a movement for Black men, not Black women. I for example, when you learn about Black history in textbooks, you learn mostly about Black men. When we look at the civil rights movement and Black power movement, now this is true. Black power movements, and that's why Professor James Small, shout out to him, he makes sure that when he teaches us about our Black power movements, that he talks about the women, the woman that was running the UNIA when Garvey was arrested. Like, he makes sure that he talks about the women who were involved in this movement. So I do agree with her that you do learn mostly about Black men. She says when we look at the civil rights movement and Black power movement, most of the leaders we learn about are men, despite the substantial role that Black women played in both movements. In the nearly 100-year history of national civil rights organizations, she says nearly all of the executive directors have been men. Black men are taken more seriously as political leaders than Black women. She said the Black Panther Party's leader, Eldridge, was a well-known rapist, and he still assumed leadership positions in the Black Liberation Organization. Black men, without having the education that Black women receive, tend to out-earn them with, and it says, even with the education and occupation levels. I'm going to be honest. I feel like in this section, I was trying to see how she was going to tie in the Black male privilege. And I mean, I kind of feel like she was all over the place, but even just some of the comments that, or some of the statements that she made, how do you sisters feel about that? Do you think that
I see.
men,
I want to see
hold on,
what the.
sis, hold on, sis. Let me get my question now, sis. I was asking, do you feel like Black men take advantage of Black male privilege? That's my first question. And my second question is, do you think that when Black men are killed or unarmed Black men are killed by police, they get more attention? And my third question is, do you feel like we learn mostly about Black men when we look at, when we're discussing Black history than we do Black women? So it's three questions, and if you need me to repeat them, I will. But go ahead, Sister Anonymous. You have the floor.
With the privilege, I see what she's saying as far as yeah, they're basically privileged. They can be abusers. They, what she was talking about with the Black Panther, there was a lot of stories of them using their power to gain access to other women and rape women. I heard a lot of stories about that,
Mm,
and that's one of the big reasons why they was pushing the whole. It was more so it was a Black movement, but it was multicultural. They allowed everybody into that. They was doing rights for all people basically. And as far as the other question, I don't think I don't know. There might be more incidents of women getting shot by police, but I think it's probably about the same amount of well, I won't say as far as protesting, like they went hard, they go hard for like when Black men get shot. And that, yeah, she might be correct with that, because when Black women get shot, I don't see these big protests with stuff getting burned down and all that. I do see a lot of hashtags and shirts being made. And
mm.
what was the other question?
Do you think that when we learn about Black history, that we learn mostly about Black men?
Yeah, that even some of these Black men say they bring it up, and they have, that's why they have like a Women's History Month, just to try to acknowledge women, even though it's not all wrapped around Black women. But we do learn more about Black men that invented stuff, that was in power, that had movements. We, seldomly hear about the woman. The woman is usually not talked about and forgotten, the Black woman. And it's sad, because I know a lot of Black women that done a lot of good things, and I try to acknowledge them. I try to involve them in projects that I do, because they're not. It's even like in the industries that I was in, it was male dominated. Like, the women were not included in a lot of these things, and I'm like, it seems like all the men is ones having fun and being around each other. They don't invite women to these events and stuff like that, and it's like, really, it should be addressed, because it should be some type of balance, because it's a man, it's a masculine and feminine aspect to everything that we do in this world. So I think both should be acknowledged. But even when I was going to school, and even still now, they don't teach about that many black women and black, like Sister Octavia Butler. She writes books, and like they'll change the artwork on her books. Even a sister that did the Matrix, they take everything that we do and they remix it and act like some white man created it, or the black man tries to take credit for things that the black woman does. Like, oh, you wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for me, or I'm the one that put you on. That's a lot of that is going on. A lot of these sisters don't get credit for the work that they
For
done.
the work that they put in. Sister
Yeah.
Mia Miata, what are your thoughts on those three questions that you want to add to that?
Well, I can't really speak on black women being killed by the police because enough of those stories are not being told. Okay.
Yes, that's
But I
true.
live in Baltimore City, and I know for a fact that young sister Destiny Harrison was shot in her beauty salon, right?
I remember that. I
That
remember that.
screams some jail shit that happened in
Yeah,
jail. Her boyfriend or some that just set that it didn't sit right with my spirit. You
I
feel me
remember
saying?
that.
That seemed like some shit that from jail that spilled over into the street, and the young woman was just retaliation. That's what it sounded like to me,
Mm.
right?
And
But
her baby was there. Remember they said
abs-
the people literally when they came into the salon, they came in, they shot her and everybody ran out. They said they left her child. I think her daughter was like sitting there while her mother was in a pool of blood, and nobody it was terrible. It was terrible what happened to her. But please continue, Mia
no, what
Miata.
I'm saying is that where was the black men to rally around? And I'm not saying there weren't any black men that did not um speak out about what is happening. I'm talking about Baltimore City, where black women and black children are getting shot up in cars in Edmondson Village. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking. These are the things that I work in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Sandtown all the
Yeah,
time.
you out there. And then look, I want to address his brother Michael Jordan. He said you're not adding context to this, Dr. Maat. This is the black on black crime narrative. We must go deeper if we're going to have a real talk. For one, you're going to kill who is in proximity to you. Brother, do you see what you wrote and how ridiculous that sound? You're going to kill who's in. So this is okay. I'm not giving context to the conversation. You're going to kill who's in proximity. Brother, brother, brother. My mother and my father lived in a time period where black people, we've always lived in close proximity to one another. Where else the hell was we going to live? And we didn't shoot each other. Do you hear the story that we just told you about what's happening in Baltimore? And this isn't black on black crime. This is just happening because we live closer to one another. Hell, we've always lived closer to one another. Go ahead, Sister Mia Miata.
Yeah, that's the psychosis that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And so, what I'm saying is that I can't really speak on black women getting killed by the police because I know those stories are out there, but we don't hear about those as much, of course, as black men getting killed by the police. And I agree with her that it is a big to do when black men are being killed by the police, but when black women like Breonna Taylor, it's a hashtag, or you may change your profile picture, but then it's back to the same old, not very soon after. Of course we hear about more black men in black history than we do black women, and like Sister Anonymous said, yeah, that's why we have so-called Women's History Month, but it's Sandra Day O'Connor and all those other women that we hear about. We never hear about our own. You know what I'm saying? That's why in my GD class, if I talk about Frederick Douglass, I talk about Anna Mary Douglass, who was a black woman who was never a slave. Who,
Beautiful.
if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't have even known who he was. He called her a black lug and brought a white woman in the house and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I talk about all of these important black women. If you're in my class, you're going to hear, and I teach GD classes for Baltimore City Community College. But I say all I have to say is that yes, all of the things that she's saying are true. Okay, but we got to do our part to educate our people any way that we can. You know what I'm saying? And I know you're a professor. Dr. Maat, I know you infuse, and I know you teach STEM and you teach engineering. But I know your students get that knowledge. I know they get that work.
Oh yeah, they don't have a choice if they take me.
Absolutely.
Some of them try to duck me though. I have a hard I have a reputation as a hard professor, and those are the
I'm
ones.
gonna look you up on what is that? Rate My Professor.
Oh Lord, you look me up on Rate My Professor. They're gonna be like, oh, Those students, boy, they retaliate against you, especially when you fail. That's why I was telling people, my students that because they say I looked you up on Rate My Professor. I said, don't listen to that. A lot of those are the students who are mad, right? They get mad, you fail them, so they want to give you a bad report. And I mean, I'm telling you, but I love my students nonetheless. Nonetheless, I love my students. A Beautiful Mind, she says, it happened to my cousin's best friend. She was murdered by her baby father. My cousin said he was jealous of her and shot her in front of their son.
And remember the story about the sister that got the tax return, and the baby father came and shot her and the children.
Yes, I think the tax return, wasn't it like $1,200 or something?
Measly twelve hundred
It was
dollars.
it was something, and he wanted half, and he went in there and he shot her. But I guess Mr. Jordan's going to say is in close proximity. Who else we going to shoot? Is this whoever's in close proximity? Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come
we
on,
got to
man.
do better. We got to
We
do
got
better.
yeah, we gotta do better. She
One
says
more
black.
thing. One more
Okay, go
thing.
ahead, Queen.
When black women address any issue they have or problem, a lot of black men tend to say that we are siding with the white man, or we're oppressing them like the white man does. And I never got the black woman. It has been proven that black women want black men more than any other race, more than any other race. Is black women always wanted to be with black men. We always loved our black men.
That's a
if we
fact.
if
That's
we
a fact.
address something, we're not siding with the white man because we disagree with something that you might have had done. We're not white supremacists or feminists or whatever way they want to classify us. Because even through everything that black women been through, at the end of the day, we still want to be with the black man. A lot of black men might have been through something with a black woman, and guess what? They don't want to deal with black women no more. They'll base that one experience on how they deal with a lot of women, and it might even start with the experience with their mother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I had a brother, I had a few brothers who came to me and we had conversations, and a lot of them told me that, and I'm talking about these brothers that I had conversations with. They said that they realized, and one brother that I'm thinking about in particular, he said that he said he used to dog black women. He said he would dog them. And he said that he realized that he was doing that because he said he told me, he said he was abused by his mom. He was abused by the aunties in his family. And so what he did was take that out on, you know, other black women. He got out there and he started dogging black women. And so he said he had to heal from that in order to have healthy relationships with black women. So some people, like you say, sometimes it goes back to, um, you know, sometimes it goes back
To the
to
mother,
the
yeah.
mother, to the
I
mother
have
and
a
his
lot of
experience.
conversations with people in the community, a lot of men that felt the way by being whipped by their mother, or by their mother not being with their father. Like, I had a lot of conversations like that. I think a lot of men are traumatized as boys by being beaten by a woman when they were younger, and
or
nobody talks
or
about that.
the mother choosing another man over the boy. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Or bringing another man into the home, and now he don't feel loved anymore because now his mother's trying to maintain a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or trying to get the bills paid. Let's keep it 100. You know what I'm saying?
Because a
She's
lot of
trying
them, the
to.
conversations they have with me, they say there's a thing in little boys that the little boy wants their mother. That there's a period that they go through. This is what a lot of the guys in the community teach. There's a period when a boy is jealous of the man that the mother's with, even if it's the daddy, even if the woman is with the daddy. So there's a period they go through when they're jealous. So if they see their mother not with the father and they get with another man, that affects men too, and they that's why they can sometimes come off like overprotected over women, because they feel like, oh, you might leave like my mother left my daddy, or vice versa, or it might have been the daddy that left the mother, but they was too young to remember what happened. So it's a lot of like, they'll over protect you. It's a lot of men in the community, they tell you, oh, we don't want you to get a job, we don't want you to work, but they don't provide for you either. So it's like, I'm not gonna sit here and not do this. They like very overprotective in that community.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Asad Emotep is trolling, right? He's trolling tonight. Absolutely, Queen. Absolutely. So the third section, it says black men critique us worse than white supremacy ever did. So she's getting into, and you mentioned this earlier. She says if you listen to rap music, by and large, dominated by black men, you'll see the way they disparage black women's looks and hold us to the European standards of beauty in terms of skin tone, hair, and body size. Colorism is a huge issue in the black community, and that's because black men perpetuate the idea that light and bright is ideal. Many black men discriminate against monoracial black women with kinky hair and hold their dating standards up to white standards of beauty. They want white or biracial or light-skinned black women, anything but a black woman with dark skin and 4C natural hair. What do you queens think about that?
That's a fact. I done
That's
had,
facts.
I done experienced that. I've been told that, and you see it. And it wasn't always like that. It was a moment in hip hop where there was women in the videos. It was woman empowerment, unity, Queen Latifah, and all that. And then hip hop got infiltrated, and I think every time we form something, it gets infiltrated, and then it adjusts to these European standards. Once you allow these people to come into our culture, then they all start bending to their will, and then everything changes. Because I remember a time when hip hop was positive. It was positive messages. It was women in the videos. They had crowns on their head, and now it's you don't see that no more.
Yeah, but Sister Ma, you and I had a personal conversation about a couple of months ago on this very same topic about hip hop. Like I remember Brand Nubian. I remember, like when we black
Yes,
women were just
yes.
edified,
Mm-hmm.
blackness, Queen Latifah, and it was just a beautiful time. The '90s, early '90s was a beautiful time to be a black woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
No, it wasn't all the way there, but it was like an empowering place in our culture. You know what I'm saying? And so then, like Sister Anonymous is saying, we got them those culture vultures that came in and realized that the hip hop was a commodity, right? It wasn't an art form anymore. It wasn't culture necessarily. It was a commodity. And so then the shift started to change, and we weren't edified the way we were used to be edified. I can't even listen to that stuff
because they
anymore.
sold hip hop out to the
Let me tell
highest, to
you,
the
I
lowest
listen.
bidder, and it's even rappers that said they was told to spread a certain message, and if they didn't, they couldn't get a deal or they couldn't get signed. So it's like, and I think that's what's happening to the community is being infiltrated, and in order for these men to make money now, they gotta, you know, go to the other side and well, that's what they feel like they got to do. They don't feel like us coming together as a community and building our own infrastructure and our own businesses and owning our stuff that we could prevail. They always want to take a shortcut.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I see
Oh my
people going in
goodness.
on the comments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Michael Jordan crazy talking about whoever this is. Can she name 3 black female inventors? That's an easy. This is I'm getting ready to get him up out of here if he's saying stupid shit like that. Can you name 3 black female inventors and what have they done? I can name a shitload of black female inventors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it
So
wasn't
get
for
out.
us,
Yeah, get
if it
out of here
wasn't
with
for
that.
us,
Get
if
out of
it
here with
wasn't
that.
for us, the United States wouldn't have gotten to the moon. So let's stop playing.
Yeah, so Jordan, I can get you on here and I bet you I would beat you up in STEM. I can put up some stuff right now. You couldn't even hang in my class. I could put some information for my class right now and you wouldn't be able to hang.
Yeah, black women
You wouldn't
created a
be able to
lot of
hang.
things. We went been in space. We went created time machines. All these novels. There's a lot of things black women did that they don't get acknowledged for.
No, I mean, I read an article
DNA,
where,
nothing.
yeah, I read an article where they had found black women in spacecrafts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't
they.
read that article,
I
but
think.
I don't like because I don't support if I don't verify
Yeah, yeah,
it,
yeah. I
I
know,
don't
I
be
know,
like, yeah, yeah,
I know.
yeah. I gotta verify it.
Yeah, you do
I
got
gotta I
to
gotta
verify
verify it. But what I
it.
but I but what I will say is that he said, can you name 3? I can name a bunch. I can name a bunch, and I can name some sisters who are doing some good work today who are in STEM that would give some brothers a run for their money. So let's not go there because it's really not a competition,
It's
It's
not.
not,
right?
and that's
And,
not
and,
what
and I
this is
feel and I
about.
feel like I feel like he's turning it into a competition, and that's not what it is.
And I don't want this to come off like it's a competition or that we have some against all black men. We talking about the males in this community that needs to be addressed. There needs to be some type
Of accountability,
of
right? So
dialogue.
so then
Because
you
we
look, you
tired of
have
being quiet. We're not gonna be quiet. We're not
yeah,
gonna
then
like just
you have
be
somebody named
quiet.
King Leo saying he's right. All races kill who lives around them. We're not
That's the
having a
most
conversation
ignorant
about
shit I've
all
ever
races.
heard.
We're not having a conversation about all races. I don't care what those other races do, right? We're
Yeah,
talking
and it
about
wasn't that
us
much.
and our
It wasn't that
people.
much black on black crime back in the days. My father tells me these stories all the time. He was more concerned with civil rights and all this. Like it wasn't no black on that much black on black crime back in the days. This
Not
is
at all.
recent.
Not
This
at
is recent,
all.
and it's being influenced in the music and movies and all of that. They rap about killing people. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. All right, and so let me get to the last section that I am going to read. It says, "Now let's look at how black men make fun of black women in the media." She says, "Black men like Tyler Perry." I wouldn't even call him a black man, but okay. Black men like Tyler Perry and Medea or Marvin, or just black men on Instagram dress up like black women and make fun of our facial features, mannerisms, not just for laughs, but it's microaggression. It's a way of downcutting the worth of black women and setting us up for the entire world to look at and laugh at. The majority of leads in black films, men, you guessed it, and then when they move on to hip hop, the way that most of the women that appear in the hip hop videos are there for male gaze to please the male gaze. She says, and again, most of these women are light skinned or white because that's what rappers like. That's what black men as a whole value. The way black men talk about women in songs with the use of words like bitch and hoe that demean women or that perpetuate the idea of men dominating women sexually.
Yeah,
So
they
many
like
black
them. They call them exotic.
So many black men date black women while they are in a lower social economic status. Then once they get fame or some dinero, they're on to the white light and bright women. So that's been a lot of info to take in, but it's why I don't celebrate or value or consider myself pro-black anymore. I feel like pro-black was a 2017 word. Now black women are catching on to the game and we're realizing we're being played. We can't be out here starting whole movements for Black lives and being left out of those movements anymore. She said, it's enough. She said it's enough. She said it's enough. All right. So what are your thoughts on her on this last section? Because the other stuff, she's like, well, when am I then? And she starts talking about like her magazine and creating jobs for black women and collaborating with other black business owners. But what are your thoughts about this last section when she says that, black men make fun of black women in the media? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I see it a lot, and it's a lot of colorism going on. It's a lot of light skin versus dark skinned black women being pinned up against each other. It's a lot of and a lot of women like to live up to what they believe is a man's standard. So that's why I see a lot of women getting surgery or wanting to lighten their skin or straightening their hair because that's basically what they're attracted to. And I like the last point she made where she said, and what was the last sentence she said was very profound where we need to be involved, and I forget exactly what she
Yeah,
said.
she said we can't be out here starting whole movements for black
Yeah,
lives and being left out of those movements anymore. She said enough
exactly.
is enough.
That's the main point.
Yeah, that's the main point right there.
Yeah.
Right. And those kinds of films, I or those Instagram posts where, it's a big butt and, they got the green hair and it's always mockery, you know what I'm saying? Those are putting out negative images about black women, but it's about, you can unfollow too. You see what I'm saying? We can't control that, what I'm saying? That's what people want. But you can unfollow too. You don't have to participate in it, even if it's just on a personal, on a conscious level, right? So, a lot of the Tyler Perry, I don't support it. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
just
that's that
don't.
foolery. Yeah, that foolery. It's a minstrel show if you ask my opinion. Shout out to brother Son Lion. He said, "Ooh," he said, "Ow, toes are hurting." He's in brother Son Lion. He's in the chat having a ball because he sees what I see. Some people are really in their feelings, and so what I remember a brother years ago said, "If it don't apply, let it fly."
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
but
Yeah, absolutely.
obviously some people in their feelings because the truth hurts and you feel like we talking about you. You need to clean up your house. You need to clean up your house. Keep going though, brother. I mean, sorry, sister Beata.
No, you cannot follow. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's in a personal level. I didn't watch. I didn't watch. What's the movie with Monique and Gabrielle Satsudebe or what? I'm sorry. I don't. I'm mispronouncing. There's certain things me personally, I will not participate in. You know what I'm saying? I like Sister Anonymous said. I'll read an Octavian Butler novel before I watch. I'll sit and read the whole novel before I watch that foolishness. You see what I'm saying? And so, about women traveling in space and and time traveling. Those are the kind of things I like to participate in. Black women, celebrating Black women. If it's not celebrating Black women, I don't want to participate in it. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you won't catch me shaming Black women or none of that. That's not what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? I'm about uplifting and and I want to get back really quickly to the distinction about whether I got to choose whether I'm Black or I'm female, which comes first. A woman, I know, because I'm genetically female, but I am a woman by right of my consciousness, right? So I am a Black woman. If there's balance, that's my, that's what I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm not choosing either one, my gender or my race. You know what I'm saying? I am both equally. You know what I mean? And so, I'm so glad you opened up the dialogue to have this kind of conversation and to change the narratives. And shout out to the brothers in the comments who and the sisters too. I see you, sister, over there talking about a lot of these brothers have daddy issues too, which we're not taught. We haven't really got a chance to address. But this is a really pertinent conversation. You know what I'm saying? And Sister Ma'at, you're doing an amazing job with the platform that you have, and the balance that you have between checking people and bringing the knowledge. You're so multifaceted within this one conversation. I just love your energy, Sister Anonymous. Thank you, really, because you didn't have to come on here and be as
Thank you.
open. No, seriously, as open as you have been.
And I know I didn't want to show my face because I didn't want to put a face to who I am because then everybody would connect the dots. But and I'm not ready for all that. But I appreciate being on this platform. And the key thing is bringing, like you're talking about Maya and balance with the Black woman, and and also we need balance between the Black man and the Black woman. A lot of roles are being reversed, and it needs to be more balance. And I think once Black women are back in her essence, we will have more of a balance in the community or whatever community, because there's all types of communities. And I just think that I love that we're addressing this, and hopefully we could see some results, because I don't want to keep going through the same cycle. We all have kids, and some of us that don't have kids, we know people that have kids, and I just want to reverse the curses, and I just want us to be able to do better as a whole. So for me to come on this platform and express myself is not me attacking every man. It's me saying, as a Black woman, I want all of us to do better. I want all of us to be able to have conversation and stop, all the attacking and all of that, and understand each other more, because the key thing is understanding each other. I just want to bring more of the understanding back, and I hope everybody heals. I understand that a lot of people been through things, and maybe that's the first thing everybody needs to address, is maybe some trauma they might have been through when they was younger, because sometimes you can invite people into your world and you're not ready for them, and you could suck, you could use their energy, and then you could kind of implement them with whatever trauma you've been through. And I don't want to keep repeating that pattern. It has to come to a point where you say, you know what, we're going to stop this pattern, and we're going to come together as a whole and figure things out. So I appreciate this platform. I appreciate y'all listening to me, and this is really helping me in my healing process. So I really, really appreciate it, because I had I was at a point where I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was depressed and everything, and today I just say, you know what, I'm gonna just hit up Mia and let her know what's been going on. And and look, now I was able to talk about it, and I was able to express myself, and I'm feeling much better. And hopefully we can have more of these conversations. and invite some men in sometime, and we could talk and we could figure things out.
Yeah, and,
But
and look, I appreciate this discussion
hmm
too. I just do see that some I don't know whether to say brothers, dudes, or black males
hmm
in their feelings. They say, oh, a bug woman is, she writes an article. Hold on, what did he say? I'll put you on the screen, brother Sean. You said a bugged woman is giving, you said bugged a woman. Okay, so I don't know, maybe that was a typo. But you said a bugged woman, I think that's what you meant to write, is given the reasons why she isn't pro-black, and y'all agree with her. So what does that mean? Y'all not pro-black. I might be in the wrong room.
No,
Brother,
we
were
never
you
said,
hold
we
on,
never
no, no,
said
no, 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 no,
that.
sister me and
Mhm,
Miata.
mhm,
No,
mhm,
you don't have
mhm,
to. You don't have to.
mhm, mhm,
It's called, I'm gonna just talk to them like I talk to my students who are like 19 and 20. It's called listening comprehension. So if he would have listened to the discussion as we were going through reading it, there were points that we agreed with, right? And there were points that we didn't agree with. So, brother Sean, I don't, again, brother, please work on your listening comprehension. This is what I tell my freshmen. You have to work on your listening comprehension. So if you feel like this woman is bugged for whatever, I mean, that's your opinion. But if you're saying that we just agree with her, we agree with everything this woman said, then you need to work on your listening comprehension. Okay. All right. I just wanted to say that.
yeah,
Wanted to
because
say that.
that term, even pro-black, it shouldn't even be a term. It should just be an action. Like, people get triggered by words and stuff like that. Like, I didn't agree with her. Kept when she kept saying black men, black men, black men, and putting all
Absolutely.
black men
Yeah,
into a
yeah, we
box.
didn't. Right. Put them in a box. We said all that. Again, he needs
hmm
to work on his listening comprehension. But I want to ask you, ladies, and first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the platform, for having this discussion. Sister Mia Miata, I love you, Queen. I always enjoy the discussions that we have. I mean, we have some dynamite discussions, and I just love it. I love who you are. I love your spirit. You and I connected literally at Paula's life celebration when she transitioned. I came there, you came there, and we connected, exchanged numbers, and I hit you up, you hit me up, we talk. I've been, I love it. I love what we have. And I just look forward to continuing to just build with you, Queen, to continue to build with you. Yes, yes. Did you
I
want to?
wanted to say this, and shout out and God bless brother Michael K. Williams, who transitioning. He's close to Baltimore because he played Omar on The Wire, right? Well, I had this download, right? I get these downloads, right? And I watched the video of him dancing. I don't know if you guys ever have seen that. It went viral a couple of months ago. He was in Brooklyn. He was dancing.
Yeah. hmm
He was like, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. That's what the energy I got, right? So the download I got today was he was transitioning then, right?
Mm,
And so he was in the process of evolving and transitioning then. And I listened to a video today where he talked about his self-esteem as a dark-skinned black man. And I'm like, nigga, we love dark-skinned black men, right? But that's not what that wasn't his experience, right? And so I say that to say, when you talk
mm.
about Sister Paul is transitioning, this conversation is transitioning, right? Mama Universe is using us right now, right? And no, not if they're going to agree with us. And it's some people in the comments says, listen, that's not what this is about. This is about the transitioning of us as black women and black. We're not talking about black males. We're not talking about black females. Yeah, we are, but what we want to do is transition into our best possible selves, right? And so this, I admire you, sister. You know what I'm saying? I admire you for what you do and for the bringing the healing together and for the bravery of Sister Anonymous. She didn't have to come on here tonight.
That's
To say none of that.
I was getting ready to say it. Like she's woo. I was
Yeah,
getting
because I
ready to
was
get to
ready
her.
not to. I was like, I don't
I
know.
know, but I'm so glad that you came on because, like you said, you're in it. Well, you was in it. I mean,
hmm
we may have been dealing with, like you like me and Miata said, the clown that was following, right?
Right, right, right.
We may have been doing that, but you were actually with, a
Yeah.
teacher, someone that was considered a master teacher. And so I do thank you for coming on the platform and just sharing your experience with all of us. I mean, that was powerful. You dropped a lot of jewels. And I thank you for that. And we had to do this again. We got to do this again.
We definitely
Kick it on. Look, kick it on a Friday night. Have a ladies' night where we just talk about issues that impact Black women. I'm definitely game for that. Anytime.
We still to this day love Black men. I just want all Black men to know that there's no hate. There's no ill, feelings towards y'all. Everybody had their own personal experience, and we're just expressing that so that we can have better experiences in the future.
Absolutely.
And that's the main thing. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. So again, I know this was an impromptu discussion. We were under Sister Mia Miata's post, and she hit me with a tag, and I'm like, "Let's go live." And you sister said, "All right, we can go live at 8:00." And so again, I just appreciate you taking time out of your lives to be with me and in my listening audience tonight. You could have been doing something else, right, with your time. And I always tell people, I respect people's time, energy, and resources, and so I thank you for coming here and spending time with us and giving us your energy. So thank you so much, family. I will be live tomorrow. I have Baba Baruti, Mwalimu Baruti. I call him my master teacher. He's a master teacher in my eyes. He's going to be coming on the platform tomorrow at 8:00 p.m. to talk about the Yorugal white people. Are they human? Are they human? Or white people are human? And I know initially somebody would say, yeah, they're Homo sapien sapien. Yeah, they're human. But did our ancestors, or would our ancestors perceive white people, right, as being human? And so Mwali Mabarudi is going to talk about what it means or what it meant to be human in a traditional African society. So I'm looking forward to this discussion. And I said, look at the irony. We're going to have this discussion on 9/11, right? And everybody knows what happened on 9/11. And we're going to be unpacking that topic. Is white people, or are white people human? And so join me back here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Peace and Black power.
Black power.